everyone, and welcome to my half-hour stretch class tonight. I'm Tori with Healthy Living with Tori, and if you're just joining me, you don't know who I am, I teach group fitness and I'm a personal trainer at Shirley's Fitness Club and at Triad Fitness, and I have private clients and online nutrition classes, and I'm a Juice Plus partner, so I'm doing a lot of things, keeping very active during this time. But I wanted to do a half-hour stretch class. I did one on Monday. Hopefully you joined with me. And it was just a traditional stretch class. If you're jumping on right after Tracy's class, you're all warmed up and ready to go. But I did want to talk to you tonight about the benefits of adding foam rolling to your exercise, your regular exercise routine. So I have some notes because I wanted to make sure I cover everything. And this will be recorded, so you can always come on later and watch it at another time. And feel free to comment or share it with other people. So I'd like to know if you've ever tried foam rolling or not. Maybe you've seen them at the gym, but you don't really know what to do with them. They're little mini torture machines. No, not really. They're awesome. Okay, so the foam roller is basically, it's referred to as myofascial release. So it's kind of like giving yourself a self-massage. So now that we've been in quarantine for a couple months now, maybe you haven't been able to get a regular massage and your body's really starting to feel it. And maybe you don't have someone that's living with you that can give you a massage. So all you have is yourself. Well, if you have access to a foam roller, you can utilize that. Now, if you don't have one, you can definitely get one through Amazon. Target carries them. And when things open up, you can get them pretty inexpensively at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and I'll cover a couple of different ones that I have. So foam rolling is essentially a form of self-massage, like I said, that allows you to apply deep pressure to certain points of the body to release tightness and muscle tension. Anybody have some tension going on now? I know I do. Adding foam roller exercises into your workout routine can help prevent muscle soreness, tightness, and more. So I'm going to list some of the benefits of foam rolling. So it does help promote blood flow throughout the body. It breaks down scar tissue. It helps maintain muscle length. It reduces pain and soreness. It increases your range of motion. It aids in muscle recovery. And it relaxes muscles that may have become tight from inactivity. So we think of doing the foam rolling to relax muscles because they're tight after a workout. But it's actually great, especially during this time, if you're doing a lot of work from home and you're sitting at a desk. I know a lot of us are doing a lot of Zoom calls, so we're sitting more. Maybe you're watching a lot more TV than normal. So the muscles have gotten tight, so it's good for that as well. So you can safely use the foam roller daily, and ideally you want to spend anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, but use whatever you have. So if you only have a couple of minutes, you can still work on particular areas. But if you want to work the full body, give yourself some time. So about 10 to 20 minutes per session, and that just kind of helps get all the kinks out. I want to warn you that if you've never done it before, or if you are really tight, it may be a bit uncomfortable at first, especially when you first start doing it. So you need to kind of get used to it. You're using your own body weight when you do the foam roller, so you can adjust how much pressure you want. So if it's a little bit too tender, a little sore, you can lessen the pressure. If you need to work and get in there a little bit deeper, you can put more pressure on. So you get to adjust that yourself. So foam rolling, the exercises we're going to cover, or the body areas that we're going to cover tonight, are the calves, the hamstrings, the IT band, which is the side of your thigh, upper thigh, your quads, the front of your thighs, your hamstrings and glutes, inner thighs, and back, and the lats. So we're going to cover this area here. Now when we use the foam roller on the back, I want to caution you that you really shouldn't be using it on the lower lumbar, right on the spine. It's great for in between the shoulder blades, for the shoulder blades, upper back, the thoracic spine, and the between the shoulder blades and neck area. So avoid going right over the vertebrae for that lower lumbar. You also want to avoid going right over the joint. So you can go above and below a joint, but try not to go right on top of it. You also don't need to worry about doing everything equally. So say you're doing your calves and you might be sore on the right calf than on the left. You want to spend more time on the area that's sore, less time on the one that's not. So it doesn't have to be exactly equal. You still want to give it some love, but it doesn't have to be as much as the area where you're really feeling tight. And you will know it. It's like when you get a massage and you're like, oh, that's the spot. You'll know it. And that's the area that you want to really spend some time on. You also want to avoid going too quickly. So we want to take our time here. So spending time over an area, again, if you're feeling like that particular area is really sore or tight, take the time to really stay on that area a little bit longer. It's also really important in anything that we do to focus on our breathing. So making sure that you're breathing through it, especially if it is a very tender area. You also want to try and relax your facial muscles. If it's really painful, sometimes we scrunch our face. So I don't even think about just relaxing the face. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of foam rollers. So I have a couple of variations here. I'll show you what I have. There is different sizes and different densities. This one is a pretty inexpensive foam roller. It's the shorter size. I also have one that's pretty much the same density or foam, but it is a longer one. And this is the size that I recommend, and I'll show you why towards the end. But I think I got this one at Target, but again, you can get it on Amazon right now too. Then if you want to invest a little bit more, there's this little monster. This is a torture device. You can see it's got little ridges. It looks almost like tire threads. So that just means that these little nodules are digging deeper and getting deeper into their myofascia, however you pronounce that. If you don't have a foam roller tonight, don't worry about it. We're going to go over the basics, and I'm pretty confident that you're going to want to get one to have at home. If you have a pool and you have kids, you might have one of these little noodles. It's hollow on the inside, so unlike those. So this is not sufficient really for using as a foam roller, except for it is kind of effective for the calf area because you're not putting a lot of pressure on it. If you use it on your thighs or glutes, you're gonna squish it and it really doesn't give you much resistance. You can also get things like this on Amazon. It has little nodules. I forget if it might be something with cellulite, because one of the other things that they're finding that the myofascia, and I'll talk about that a little bit more, that if you use this, it kind of breaks up the myofascia, just like the foam roller, but it's also breaking up that cellulite. So you can use this. Also, this is a good one to get like around your neck area because it's got that long handle. If you're by yourself and you can't reach that area and you get sore or tight, a lot of us hold our tension in our necks. I know I had one person ask to cover going over the neck area. It is a little bit more challenging, but this is helpful. I also have little therapy balls. I'll talk a little bit about those as well, but we're gonna get into the foam rolling. Oh, I did want to mention that some people, if you have a dumbbell, you can use that. Again, this is really only sufficient for the calf area. It's not really thick enough for other body parts. I've also heard of people using rolling pins, so that's an option too. If you have one laying around, you might. All right, so we're gonna start with the calves. So we're gonna come on down to the floor. The nice thing about foam rolling, like I said, is that you can adjust the amount of pressure. So when you're working with an area, when you are using, we're starting with the calf. If I want to do both calves at the same time, I have to lift my body weight up off the floor to get that pressure and be able to roll back and forth. Now for some people that might not be an option. Maybe you don't have the strength to lift yourself up and hold yourself. It is a good arm workout, so if you like that challenge, you can do that. You can also cross one leg over the other. Now you're putting more pressure on that calf that's on the roller, so if you need a little bit deeper, you can do that. Ooh, I feel that. All right, another option, which is a little bit easier, and it also gives you a little bit more control over how much pressure, is do single leg. So you're lifting your hips still, but now you've got this leg that kind of helps to support you. And you're just gonna roll back and forth. Now again, you wanna have nice, slow movement. You wanna breathe through it. You can cover just a small area, go back and forth, or you can cover a wider range. You can also angle that foot outwards and get that outer calf area, which doesn't feel very sore on me, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time there. Then you can rotate it in and go on the inside. I feel a lot more there. So you have to listen to your body. I'm also feeling it more towards my heel, so I'm gonna hover there and spend a little bit more time on that area. Again, you wanna breathe through it. Then switch legs. Again, you don't have to worry about doing the exact same amount of time on each leg, but you definitely want to feel, if it needs it, you stay there. If you find that tight, like a knot, you stay there and hover over it. And just kind of move it around. So don't be afraid to kind of play around with it. When you first start using the foam roller, it's going to feel a little bit awkward. Just kind of play around with it. All right, so that's the calf. I'm going to put on my band because it's hot in here. All right, we're going to move up that leg. So we're going to go to the hamstring. So again, you can do both legs at the same time, or you can choose to do one leg and then the other. Again, this gives you a little bit more control over how much pressure. You can start with the lower hamstring. And I'm kind of rolling on the outer side of that hamstring just to see if there's an area that's really tight, and then you can kind of roll on the inside, just like I did with the calf. And I'm going to stay on this leg, and I'm going to go right into that IT band. So I'm just going to roll onto the side of that thigh, and I've got this leg bent behind me. And I'm just going to go back and forth. Now what's interesting about this IT band is it can be tight, and it can actually cause issues with your knees. So you might think there's a problem with your knee, with the actual kneecap, the knee joint, and it really might just be that your IT is really tight and it's pulling that out. Woo! So again, you kind of just adjust. This is a really tender one for me, so I would spend more time here and just really focus on breathing. You can actually just stop and just let the pressure, if you hit a spot, and just let the pressure kind of press into that muscle and breathe through it. Good. All right, other side. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see me on this side. So again, just kind of adjusting that hamstring, the other leg, feeling where I might be tight. Rotating that leg out and in. This one's not as tight as the other leg was. And then I'm going to flip over onto the side and hit that IT band, and it is sore or tender. So breathe. If you don't have a foam roller and you're watching this to learn, go ahead and just be stretching maybe the muscle, the area that I'm talking about. But pay attention, maybe save this, watch it again, take notes. All right, now I'm just gonna stop and hover over that spot that's really tender and breathe. Nice. All right, I'm gonna flip over from here because we'll hit the glutes after. And we're gonna hit the tops of the thighs, the quads. So you can just lay on top of it and just walk your hands forward and back. Just kind of see which one, what area. If I want to do one side, I'm just going to kind of shift the weight on that side of the thigh. So you get the point on the quads. All right, so that's the top of the thighs. Again, if you hit a spot, you can hover over that and just pause and hold it and breathe through it. So inner thigh, we're gonna turn it long ways. I'm gonna work this leg first. I'm gonna bend the knee, place the area on top of the foam roller. The other one is gonna extend behind me, and I'm just gonna roll side to side this time. So again, you just kind of move it around to see if there's any tenderness, any tightness. I'm not really sore on this leg, so I'm going to go ahead and switch. Bend thigh and just rock side to side. Breathe. Hope you guys are having a good evening. I can't believe tomorrow's Friday already. These weeks are just flying by. All right, so we hit the calves, we hit the hamstrings, the IT bands, the side, the quads, the inner thighs. Now we're gonna move up to the glutes. I'm gonna sit on it, but I'm gonna kind of hit the upper hamstring when it attaches to the glute first, and then we'll hit sort of the gluteus medius afterwards. All right, so I'm sitting on the foam roller. I'm rolling back and forth, kind of getting the upper hamstrings. Make sure I'm in camera view. All right, so kind of upper hamstring, bottom of the glute. And then I'm going to come up, actually sitting on top of it and getting more of the top of the glute. All right, now I'm going to fold this leg on top of this one, and I'm going to rotate onto that side of that leg that's bent, and I'm going to roll back and forth, getting a little bit deeper into that gluteus medius minimus. Whew. Feels good in a bad sort of way, or it feels bad in a good way. I think that's more like what I just breathe. All right, I'm gonna flip around so you can see me in the other direction. You wanna be careful getting on and off of this. So I'm gonna fold this leg, cross it over, and I'm going to rotate onto that side of that hip and just kind of roll back and forth. And again, breathing through it. So like I said in the beginning, you can do this before you work out, just to get that blood flow going to the muscles, but it's great afterwards as a cool down, part of your cool down stretch, or just any time that you're feeling tight. All right, we're gonna move on to our back. Now, as I said, you wanna kind of stay away from the lower lumbar, right on that vertebrae. So we're gonna bring it to the mid-back. So it's right about here. So I'm gonna lay down, place it where I want it. Now, if you have long hair, you're gonna wanna make sure that it's up out of the way. If your hair gets caught in that roller, it hurts. So I've got my knees bent to help control the amount of pressure. And I'm gonna start here by just letting my head fall back and breathing. So that really gets a nice stretch through that thoracic spine. And then I'm gonna bring my elbows together and bring it up. And lean back again. You can either have your elbows open wide, open up that chest, or you can keep it here. Just kind of play around with what feels better for you. You can do that maybe 3 or 4 times, breathing. And now I'm gonna lift my hips up and I'm just gonna let that pressure come a little bit deeper as I roll up and back. Now this is where I usually have a lot of stress, right between the shoulder blades, so I will spend more time in that area and just kind of hover over it. Try not to go too fast. Breathe through it. Oh, that's so good. I hope you guys have one at home and are doing this with me, but if you don't, I'll try and put a couple links to some foam rollers on Amazon. All right, so you want to come up nice and slowly. Now the reason why I suggested getting the long one is because I like to also lay on it lengthwise. Now I'm 5 feet, so my whole body will lay on top of it with my head supported. If you're taller, you want to make sure that your head is supported. Your hips may be off on the mat. But this is a nice, relaxing pose. You can roll side to side this way. Breathing. And then you can also open up those arms nice and wide, palms facing the ceiling. And you'll really feel that in between your shoulder blades, and it's a great chest opener. So you can just hold it here, maybe do like a little mini Shavasana. Just breathing. You can actually feel the muscles kind of give way or relax underneath the pressure. You can also take your arms down by your side and bring them up over your head with a big exhale. And hold it that way. Feels really good. You can even do some arm like a snow angel. Just breathing through it. Good. All right, I'm going to slowly roll off to the side, and then the last area we're going to hit is that lat area. So you're going to turn it back long ways, and you're going to find that area that's sore or tight, and you're going to place it on the foam roller, and then you're just going to let your body sink onto it, and I'm using my foot to kind of guide and roll back and forth. Ooh. It's really tight or tender. So I would spend a lot more time on this one, and like I said, just stopping and just resting on that spot. Again, trying to relax your facial muscles so you're not showing you're in agony while you're doing it, and breathing. So getting that other side, I'm going to place it right on the foam roller. I'm going to use this foot to kind of guide as I lift my body up onto that spot and just kind of gently roll back and forth. Also very sore, not as tight, but pretty tight. And again, I'm kind of adjusting my position to find that spot that's really tender. All right, so that's what we're gonna cover with the foam roller tonight. I'm gonna finish off with these therapy balls that are also awesome. They're pinpointing a little bit more intense into one area, whereas this foam roller, you've got a lot more space. This is gonna be really targeting that area. So say it was this area here that was really tender. You can lean up against the wall. You can also come on down to the floor, find that area, place the ball right underneath it, and come up onto it and just breathe. So this one, you're just gonna hold it. So it really is like getting a deep tissue massage, and they're really pressing into that muscle. I've got different sizes. This one is 2 balls in a little bag, so it keeps together. The nice thing about this is having the 2 balls, there's a little space that's perfect for your back, placing that right on your vertebrae. So again, you want to come onto the ball where you're sore and tight, and just kind of press, let your body weight come into it. Breathe. You want to support your head. And if you have neck tightness, maybe you've been on that computer and you've been leaning forward, or you're on your phone a lot more. And just relax onto it. But again, I find for my neck, something like this works really well. Again, because I can bring it behind my head and I can get more of the neck area. And you're just gonna kind of roll back and forth, both sides. So that is foam rolling 101. Hopefully you've enjoyed learning about the foam roller, its benefits, and basics, how to use it, but it really is a matter of just practicing it yourself. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're gonna get with the positioning, what works for you, what doesn't. And you don't need to spend a lot of money, but this is the one that I would recommend, the longer one. But if you don't have a lot of space, that smaller one is great too. And if you're traveling, this is kind of cool. I have it cut at this size, ladies, because I put this in my boot to help keep my boots nice. But it does, it's very lightweight. You can put it in your suitcase, and in a pinch, it does work the calves pretty good. But like I said, if you're working any of the other areas, it collapses because it's hollow, so you won't really get much out of it. But if you have tight calves, or it's really good for your feet too. If you have any plantar fasciitis issues, just tight feet. Maybe you work at the grocery store and you've been on your feet for hours, or you're in the healthcare profession. So massaging those feet, that's important too. All right, you guys, that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great night. Let's take a deep breath together. Inhale up and exhale out. I'm gonna stand up, one more deep breath. Inhale up and exhale. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next time.